I still remember the exact second my life almost ended on a random Miami street. My matte black Lamborghini Huracan, the one thing I owned that nobody could take from me, was wrapped around a palm tree, carbon fiber shredded, neon green calipers glowing like alien eyes through the smoke. I'm standing there in a $2,000 linen shirt, hands visible, heart slamming against my ribs, watching a white cop grin like he just won the lottery, because he thought he'd finally put me in my place. He had no idea the car he just totaled belonged to the federal government. He had no idea the titanium case that just got flung out of the wreckage held evidence that could bring down 3 U.S. senators. And he definitely had no idea that in less than 15 minutes, 2 black helicopters with no markings were going to drop out of the sky, surround the entire block, and make him the star of the worst day any cop has ever had. Before I tell you what happened next, drop a quick comment right now and let me know where you're watching from. Let's get into it. People always ask me how a black man from Liberty City ends up with keys to a $400,000 Lamborghini. They never ask how many nights I spent sleeping in safe houses that smelled like mildew and gun oil so I could afford it. My name is Malik Carter. To my mom, I'm still baby boy. To the cartels I've been hunting for 8 years, I'm a ghost with too many aliases to count. To the US government, I'm the guy they call when the evidence is too dirty and the targets are too powerful for regular channels. That Lamborghini, that was my one reward. Matte black, acid green accents, 640 horsepower screaming behind my head every time I needed to remember I was still alive. On this particular Tuesday, I was running what should have been a milk run, transport a titanium hard case from a CI in Coral Gables to a dead drop in Fort Lauderdale. Inside the case, a single encrypted drive, holding ledger keys to 30 shell companies and the real names of politicians who'd been washing cartel cash through South Beach condos. One drive, hundreds of billions traced, dozens of lives saved if it got where it needed to go. I never speed on transport days. Never. But the car itself is a magnet, and some people see a young black man behind the wheel of something that costs more than their house, and they lose the ability to think straight. The lights hit my mirrors like gunshots. Red, blue, red, blue. I felt it in my chest before I even saw the cruiser. That old familiar ice that every black man in America knows by heart. Doesn't matter if you've got a badge most people will never see. Doesn't matter if the car is titled to the Department of Justice. In that moment you're just another problem to be solved. I pulled over smooth, killed the engine, hands at 10 and 2. Old habits from the academy mixed with newer habits from the streets. Officer Derek Harlan, badge 2147, took his sweet time, circled my car like a shark, dragging his finger across the paint, peering in the windows like he was shopping. When he finally reached my window, he didn't speak. He just stared, letting me feel the weight of his suspicion. I rolled the glass down. License, registration, proof if he stopped when he saw the FBI credential I slid across first. His eyes flicked from the gold badge to my face and back to the badge, trying to find a lie he couldn't, so he changed the game. Step out, pat down, that lasted way too long. Gym bag, emptied on the sidewalk. Questions wrapped in smirks. You finance this. You a rapper. Every stereotype he could fit in his mouth. I swallowed it all. Mission first, always. Then he crossed the line no training prepares you for. He slid into my seat, mashed the start button, and revved the V10 until the whole block shook. I watched my sanctuary, my one untouchable thing, get violated right in front of me. He dropped the clutch. The rear tires broke loose instantly. He panicked, yanked the wheel, and 740 horsepower turned my car into a missile. Palm tree met carbon fiber at 6. The impact sounded like the end of the world, and in that chaos, the hidden compartment behind the passenger seat ripped open. The titanium case flew out, bounced once, and landed in the grass like it had been waiting for this exact moment. I didn't chase it. I knew better. Crowds were already forming. Phones up. Harlan stumbled out the driver's side, airbag dust on his uniform. Eyes wild because he finally realized he'd just destroyed something way above his pay grade. I hit the panic code on my encrypted phone with my thumb. 1 pulse. That's all it took. Then I waited. Backup rolled in hot. 3 more cruisers, lights and sirens, officers jumping out ready to protect their brother from whatever story he was about to tell. They saw me standing calm next to the wreckage and immediately assumed I was the threat. Hands went to holsters. Commands started flying. I didn't move and then the sky answered. You ever hear 2 Black Hawks coming in low and fast over Miami? Sounds like Judgment Day. They dropped out of nowhere. No markings. Rotors hammering the air so hard the palm fronds whipped horizontal. One hovered directly above us. Downdraft turning the street into a hurricane. The other touched down in the intersection like it owned gravity. Doors rolled open. 8 operators in full kit spilled out, rifles low, moving like they'd rehearsed this block 1,000 times. Civilians ran. Local cops froze. Last man out was Assistant Special Agent in Charge Lauren Brooks, charcoal suit untouched by the wind, eyes that could make a cartel boss confess without a single question. She walked straight past the sergeant screaming about jurisdiction and stopped 2 feet from me. Asset, one word. Exposed, I answered. Her people were already moving, collecting every phone, sweeping the block. 90 seconds later, an operator jogged up holding the titanium case, seal scratched but intact. Then Brooks turned a tablet around so Harlan and every officer on scene could see his own body cam footage. Him watching a teenager grab the case and disappear. Him doing nothing. Him immediately pointing at me and screaming that I assaulted him. The silence after that was louder than the helicopters. Harlan went pale, then gray. His knees almost gave out. Brooks didn't yell. She never does. Officer Derek Harlan, you are under federal arrest for destruction of government property, which obstruction of a national security investigation, and about a dozen other charges will figure out on the way to the black site. They zip-tied him right there on the boulevard while news choppers circled overhead like vultures who'd arrived too late to the feast. The Lamborghini was totaled. Insurance would cover it 10 times over. Uncle Sam writes big checks when his agents almost die. But watching it get draped under a tarp still felt like losing a limb. As the Hawks lifted off, I caught my reflection in the suburban window. Same face the world always sees. Same exhaustion nobody ever notices. The drive was secure. The politicians would be in cuffs by sunrise. One dirty cop was about to disappear into the system he thought protected him. But the feeling in my chest wasn't victory. It was the same quiet ache I carry every time I have to prove I belong in a car I already paid for, in a country I already bleed for, because no amount of helicopters, no federal badge, no amount of money changes the moment someone decides you don't belong, simply because of the skin you were born in. So tell me something. When does the day come that I get to just drive home without proving I earned the right to exist in the first place? Leave your thoughts below. I read every single one. That's the story. Lights in the mirror to helicopters in the sky. If it hit you hard, smash like, drop your city plus your wildest prove you belong moment below. I read them all. And subscribe with the bell. We're in this together. See you next one. Peace.